Good afternoon, ladies. This is Allison Grant. I thought I'd talk to you a little bit today about this interruption going on in all of our lives. Interruption and uncertainty can sometimes be hard to deal with. It is for me. I would imagine it is for you too. So I just thought that I would share just a few things briefly about how God's been working in my life over the last couple of years with interruptions and uncertainty. It seems to be an ongoing theme lately, even though I wish it wasn't. But quite often it just seems like it's really scary. We don't understand what God's doing in the moment. We might pray and we don't see Him working in the way we expect Him to be working, or answering our prayers in the way we expect Him to answer our prayers. For me, one big life interruption was being diagnosed with cancer a few years ago. In the first few weeks of the diagnosis, I was just heartbroken. I prayed. I just did not feel... Well, we read about God's peace that surpasses all understanding, which made me then more scared and lonely and just questioning. It took a few months of my life being just completely reorganized from what it was, homeschool mom, lots of activities with her kids, to being completely different. It then became surgeries and trips back and forth to San Francisco and chemotherapy and all sorts of things. But when that sadness over my old life coming to a screeching halt ended, there began to open up some room and some space to have some new intimacy with the Lord. And when you can step back and see things from a different perspective, it just wasn't so sad anymore. All those things didn't seem like, well, we have to do this. It now was like, well, we could do that, but we don't have to do that. And we had some really neat opportunities to just read for hours and have some different family activities that took up some time that were really sweet during that time. So God just impressed that it wasn't an immediate short-term physical healing. It was going to be a longer-term spiritual healing and life overhaul. I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes the Lord, I will sense giving me an assignment, and then I'm like, yes, sir, and I'm off and I run, and I start just doing it super passionately. But then slowly it becomes my strength and my plan, and so God sometimes just needs to stop me and get my attention and make me recognize I'm not even on His assignment anymore, or I've taken it and kind of morphed it into my own. So I needed a wake-up call in my life then, and I think I still do so very often. I read this that says, God uses interruptions to change me, to transform me, to make me more Christ-like. Interruptions are a light that shines on the darkest recesses of our heart, revealing the truth of what is really there. So a holy interruption is not the enemy. It's actually an invitation from God to just stop, rethink, reevaluate what we're doing in our lives, what our motivations are, if we've lost sight of what God's actually asked us to do. It reminded me when I was reading recently of the prodigal son in the Bible, and, I'm sure you know the story, but I love the part where it says, but when he came to himself, and then the story goes on, I think that's when he realized what he had become, and he had time to stop and self-evaluate and see what had happened in his life. And so often that's what we need to do. And it kind of seems right now that God's offering us a chance at a big holy interruption in our life right now. When we're overly worried or bogged down, busy, and involved in all of our duties, we just don't hear that still small voice of our Savior. But now that there's so many distractions removed, technically it should be easier, right? We need to just tune in and listen. Dallas Willard said that hurry is the great enemy of spiritual life. And I like how Corrie ten Boom summed it up and said, if the devil can't make you sin, he'll make you busy. So right now we have this moment of holy interruption in our lives, and my prayer for myself and then for you is that we're all just going to slow down and actually accept the invitation. We're going to be seeking out the Lord, seeing what is in our heart, what we can change, what we need to give up, how we can be transformed from the inside out and have our minds renewed. So that's my prayer for myself and for all of you. May God bless you. Have a great day.